get to bring on my finance hat as a CPA, and I haven't done that in a while. But I wanted somebody to be here with you that blends really the combination of stuff to help people get comfortable with your money and tax time, um, things that really can be very scary when we are looking at like how to get a handle emotionally on our finance. So I invited Carla Vaughn in here to be able to kind of just give you some little, juice it up a bit because we're right into going into tax season. And so, we're all concerned about closing our books and getting stuff done and then also getting comfortable with maybe what the outcome is going to be of owing or not owing, but the journey around that. And I wanted to have that type of conversation with Carla. Carla, I'm going to do an introduction, but I wanted to say hello to you, Carla Vaughn. Thanks for coming.
Why, thank you, Rhonda. So good to be on your show, and thank you for having me. I'm so excited because we're going to talk about numbers and money, and that's my wheelhouse and my sweet spot.
Oh, I love it. It's a sweet spot, which we need you out there doing all that stuff that people get very nervous about. And I bet there's this whole other part about supporting people emotionally just by being and hearing and seeing them. So I can't wait to talk about that. Okay, so Carla is a specialist in financial wellness for small businesses. As a seasoned accountant and business consultant, she advises small businesses on ways to manage their financial back office. She shows you how to keep your clients coming back while making your business more financially viable. Carla also excels in creating wow customer experiences, something that every business owner should continue to hone their skills on every year. Learn more and connect with her at speaker no speak www.speakingtoelevate.com. Welcome in, Carla. Carla, what just getting on this kind of fun accounting vibe, can you share with me what got you into this arena, this finance area, in working with numbers? What's that all about for you?
It was not my plan in life. First of all, some people, they start off life and they're in their 18-year-old phase, 20-year-old phases, and they know exactly what they're going to do. And then there's those others of us that just kind of like, I don't know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. For me, finances actually kind of got dumped in my lap. It started when I had spent 10 years working for the city and was not happy in the government mindset thing, and wound up getting recruited by IDS American Express to be a financial advisor. So I spent about 15 years being a financial advisor. And in fact, when I came to Denver, I was still a financial advisor. And during my interactions with people, I started getting questions like, I need a bookkeeper, I need someone to help with this and payroll, and I don't understand, and I was meeting those kind of people. And eventually my business morphed into an accounting business, and it specializes still to this day with small business owners. So speaking to Elevate, which is the umbrella name of my company, we really want to elevate everybody on financial wellness. And so I do that through my accounting, through my nonprofit, and then speaking about it. Because sometimes it's like the pink elephant in the room, Rhonda. It's the, I don't really want to talk about it because I'm so ashamed. Yeah. People have these emotions all around something that's simply a tool. But we don't look at it as a tool because of how society makes it, which is you are only successful if you make all this money or have this huge house or this great car or all this money in the bank. And that's not true. That doesn't mean you're not successful, whether you're a business owner or someone who's working 9 to 5.
Yeah. I'm learning that too about just like the relationship with money, that there's no such thing as, I feel, being rich or poor. Like I always thought there was like something like if somebody's wearing something, oh, they must be this or that. A house. Oh, they must just be so happy because they have this big house. That's all that matters, because once you have that, then there's no stress. And then you can live this life, and they just think they're hoity toity. And like, I mean, as a business owner, I had to break through these things.
Yeah.
And I know that most of us really are working through that experience.
Hmm.
So I love how you listen to people. Like you had your business, you're doing your thing, and then you're listening and leaning in and saying, "Here, wait, so and so needs help with this. Okay, all right, they need help with this." So when you started giving that listening and starting to bring in those types of clients, how did that transform into doing that, but also realizing that you could be there for them in another level, which is listening to them and listening to their stress, what they're working through?
Yeah. And you said the big S word, stress. Yeah. How did that happen? Actually, I took a class called I think it was called, oh, when I was in sales, I took a class called consultative selling. And that was the most valuable class next to the class that I got my final class in the MBA, which was client relations. But consultative selling was all about listening. And what I have continued to find out over the years is so many professionals, they don't they don't really listen to their clients. There's a reason, like, I love tax season because I wind up getting these new clients, and a lot of them have a similar story. I was treated like a number. They didn't listen to what I had to say. I was trying to tell them that this and this should go on my taxes, and all that kind of stuff. And I was
Yeah.
asking questions, and I couldn't get answers, you know. And I know what that's like. When I first started my first business back in the 80s, I was a business consultant, and I would ask my CPA every tax season, I don't understand. Why do I owe? Why do I owe? And he could never really give me a good answer.
Wow.
And it was very, very frustrating. And so as I went through my education and went through building my business, I said, I want a better experience. I want to have the experience I would have wanted back in the 80s. I want my clients to have that. And it was kind of funny that you bring this up, because literally yesterday I was talking to one of my clients, my bookkeeping clients, and he said to me, he says, this is all I wanted, and I'm so glad I found you. I wanted someone to listen to me and help me through my journey with my numbers, because this is in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And I think that has gotten to be so important. And when you really listen to people, in my opinion, and a professional, is then I know how to help you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to be able to help you because I have a giving heart. Okay. But I also want to help you because the more I help you, the more I help grow my business as well.
Yeah. I was thinking of, like, almost like it's like storytelling, because you
Yes.
allow your client to open up, or you're telling a story about, like, this is the latest thing that might be very much related with what they're dealing with. And that story of conversation being seen and heard, and being able to live in their reality of where they are with their numbers and how they feel about how their year was, maybe the shame around certain things, or like celebrating and boasting, but really grounding them to help them for the next year. I see how that could help them kind of anchor in and be able to hear now, instead of the frontal lobe of the mind going, I don't know this stuff, this is uncomfortable, those things that would happen. That conversation back and forth really opens up that creativity in their
Yeah.
mind. So now they really believe that, like, hey, I can take
Mhm.
ownership of this. This makes me feel more comfortable. What's your am I getting in the right space, or
Yeah. Yeah.
what's your approach when it's to, really getting them comfortable and listening, to be able to maybe pull some more expenses they may have, or like, how do you get them in that feeling where they feel comfortable and they feel they can get in there with you?
I like how you're saying this. It's about getting comfortable. And if you're not a numbers person, you'll never be comfortable. And I get that. So my approach to my work is all about education. I want you to understand how you got to that bottom number
Yeah.
and how you can make that bottom number a better number, especially if you owe. So whether that's taxes or looking at your monthly bookkeeping or looking at your payroll numbers or whatever, that's my goal, because I look at it this way. And this is why I called my business Speaking to Elevate. I want to elevate the entrepreneur, especially women, because women a lot of times are kept out of the loop in marriages and the numbers and stuff like that. And they're running their business and they still don't know what they're supposed to be doing. I want to elevate you to a higher understanding of how those numbers happen. You don't have to know how to do what I do. And I don't want you to, because then I wouldn't have a job, right?
Exactly.
But what that does, this is what we know in life. The more you know, the less stress you have, right? Because you don't have a reason to be anxietous over something, because now you know how the car works, or where to pump gas, or where to plug in, or whatever. And so knowledge truly is power. And my goal is, I want to, first of all, to always understand how'd you get to where you are now? You know, like, what is your challenges now, right now, today, this minute, whether it's over the business, whether it's over business systems, whether it's over the taxes, whether it's over the finances, whether it's over your team. Because I go, and this is why I always say, you know, some people have heard me on stage and I'll say, I'm the L'Oreal of accountants, you know, and I'm like, oh, yeah, L'Oreal, you know, the one that does the hair dye and stuff. Okay. So L'Oreal had a great marketing tool to say, you deserve it. So when people get with me, and if they ever complain about my pricing, I sit there and say, then I'm not the one for you, you know, because I do a lot of that heavy lifting behind the scenes. I'm the one on the phone for 2 hours with QuickBooks or the IRS or whoever to fix your problems. Okay. That kind of stuff. Otherwise, you go get the Walmart of accountants. So you get the one that's going to charge you $14 an hour, and you're going to get $14 an hour service, and that's it. You know, so sometimes people need to understand, what is it that you need as a person? What do you need as a business owner? And what I like to bring to the table, Rhonda, is this. I want to provide less stress, more money, and more time. That's my goal.
I love it. With you talking about women and more power and the knowledge, how do you envision, when you're working with people, but you're also a speaker, so you're out there and you're speaking, you're doing your thing, how would this world look? I'm going to go in a bigger picture here.
Okay.
How would the world look as you're doing this consistently, where you're helping people level up with their numbers? They don't need to, you're not getting technical with them where they have to understand everything, but they just need to understand. So how would this help the world if they were able to hunker in, run their business as a woman, and understand where their numbers come from, so that they can show up bigger and bolder in their business? Like, what do you see? Because I know that you see a bigger picture out there, especially as somebody, you're very dynamic on stage and you really love what you do. And so I know you have a bigger vision out there, what you are really creating.
I think I like how you're putting that, the bigger vision.
Yeah.
So I like how you're saying that. If anything, I would probably boil it down to what I saw a few years ago. So how many people out there remember COVID?
I wonder.
Okay, and the PPP loans and all like that.
Yeah.
And I was at an associate, he's a financial advisor. I was at his little seminar. It was like middle of the day, middle of tax season, right? And he was doing this presentation it was a 2-hour thing, right? Yeah. And the guy sat next to me. He looked over and we were chatting, and he says, aren't you in the middle of tax season? I was like, yep. He says, and the PPP loans and the idle loans and all like that, aren't you, why are you here? shouldn't your clients be running you crazy? And I'm like, nope. And he says, I
Ooh,
don't
that's a special answer right there. Nope. I mean,
know if they weren't running
you got to
crazy.
handle on what your clients are going through.
Yeah. And he says, well, why not? And I said, actually, I've had 2 calls from 2 clients and they're both foreigners. I said, other than those 2, nobody runs me crazy. And he says, but I don't understand. And I said, because my clients, I meet with them every month and they know their numbers. So for them to go in and apply for those PPP loans and the IDA loans and all that disaster stuff was not something they had to, oh my God, I don't know how to do.
Yeah.
That created a bigger vision for them being able to change the world for what they needed to do and get the help they needed. But it also made me realize I'm doing some good stuff. I like that my clients don't have to come knocking on my door every 5 minutes when they're trying to get lending for a house or getting a new building or applying for a loan because, underwriters and stuff, they've got their job and they're going to be asking, well, how'd you get this number? And how'd you get that number? And where did that come from? Well, my clients already know. They know because that's what I do to help them be empowered and feel comfortable to be able to answer those questions and stop being afraid of the numbers. Because like I always say in my own private world, the numbers don't hurt me.
Yeah. Wow. I can feel the numbers. They're not going to be for people, and they're looking at their finances and their bottom line and understanding that, but it gives them control, like they can be in charge because then they can make decisions
Exactly.
where they didn't, maybe they're overspending somewhere, or maybe it kind of makes them think about more business lines, maybe some things that they haven't thought about because you're getting them in creativity by
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, I made more money than I did, or my revenue's up more, or something's down. Why I didn't think about that. And so they are starting to talk about bigger and bolder things. I see you actually growing business for people
Yes.
by doing this type of approach.
And that's part of the less stress, more money, more time thing. Actually I'm meeting with one of my clients this afternoon, and she sent me a text because she's rescheduled twice for her monthly meeting. And she's like, I'm so sorry, I've got to do this again, but my business is blowing up. She's a real estate agent. And I said, and she says, like, she's doing like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, when we talk, I'll tell you what to do. And so one of the things I'm going to do for her is I'm going to get her enrolled in our program on building better business strategies. So that workshop is like a 4-week workshop where we meet every week and I talk about how do you scale? Now, what can you delegate? Now, what are your control issues that you need to get rid of? And what are the things that only you can do that you do have to hold on to?
I love it.
And it makes it so much, it's going to make it so much easier for her. But it's like, that is sometimes the things that trip us up. It's like we start a family and we don't realize, oh my God, one baby was a lot. Now I got 2. The same thing with your business. Now I started with 1 client and now I got 6. What do I do?
It's like all good, but you're like, oh, I'm so scared. It's like, you're like, no, this is good. No, I am like overwhelmed.
This is good.
And I love the monthly thing too. And it's great that you're doing a 4-week thing to really get in. And it's a great way to be able to see the ins and outs more of your maybe future client or a client coming in to be able to see more of how to be able to help them make, some good business decisions also. So you're almost like a business coach too.
I'm similar to this business coach. Lately, I've been saying I must be a business therapist because sometimes it's more than just the issues about business that people talk about. Sometimes it's their personal lives. But also too, I will never say I can do it all. I am so happy to say, hey, I know a lender over here, and I know a real estate agent over here, and I know, a construction person over there. So I'm always really happy to always refer and connect people. But I mean, it's like one thing I've realized, I think over the years, that most of us don't really have what we think we have, but we don't have. It's that one or two people in our lives where, Rhonda, we can sit there and we can dump about our business,
Yeah.
and they're going to listen and understand.
Yeah.
I think one of the worst things that you can do is talk about your business challenges, frustrations, or highs and lows to your husband, and your husband has a 9-to-5 job. I mean, I found out the hard way, my rude awakening, when my husband said to me one night, he said, "Do we have to keep going to bed with you, the business, and Anthony, who was my business partner at the time?"
You're like,
And
are we doing menage a trois? What are you
I'm like, no, there's just two of us in bed, but no, you know. But that was
here.
That was the worst and best thing he could have ever said, because it was a great awakening for me.
Yeah.
And what it taught me was he was not the right audience for me to do my emotional, mental, psychological dump about my business.
Right.
And so this is what I encourage when I meet with my clients every month. Yeah. I'm the one who you can tell me what's wrong with your staff and your business partner and why you're frustrated about this or that. I'm the one that you can talk to about that, because again, we go back to decisions. We go back to stress. And if the higher the stress you have, guaranteed will make the worst decisions.
Yeah.
So if I can help you bring down that stress so you can make better business decisions, then we're successful together.
Oh, this is fabulous. So any other stories you want to share about this year? Anything special happening that you're finding, like emotional trends around money, just some new themes coming up that people are struggling with or that you're noticing? I know, of course, COVID, that would be an easy question to answer of like, oh, we have this, and that. But, we have new administration. People are concerned about certain things. So there must maybe some themes around that. Like, is there any story, or we're at the tail end of here just thinking what you would want to share? Because I definitely want to know how to have people come and visit you also. But I thought maybe you have a good story that you want to share.
It's good. You're touching on a very politically correct way to talk about the new administration.
Yeah.
I have
we're dealing with emotions around it, but we don't have to speak specific to anything or whatever. But boy, a lot of people are scared, especially with money and all that.
Well, what I do is I literally start with cool your jets. Okay. Because I don't, regardless of the new administration and what's going on and things that are being signed out of policy and things that are going to be put in, we have got to wait for the trickle down effect. Okay. And we're not feeling the trickle down effect just yet. So why are you getting excited about something that hasn't happened? I remind people that it's going to take probably a minimum of 2 years for us to start feeling the effect. Now, I let people know on the local level, that's totally different. So if you didn't vote, it's kind of too late. But the local politics, the local laws, the local everything that happens in around your city, in around your state, that's going to have an impact in a year's time, sometimes 6 months. Okay. But on the national level, we've got to get through all the dotting of the I's and crossing the T's in order for things to actually change. I think the thing I remind people is in 2016, Trump did change the tax laws. In 2025 is the last year of phase-in. And most of that does not affect the average person. It affects the bigger corporations primarily. It affects if you are doing imports and exports, some of that, those new laws and tweaks are going to take effect in 2025. Other than that, everything else, just be patient and wait till we see the the what happens. But also too, I also remind people that, you know, when we start feeling the effect of changes, then that's when we should have the real conversation of how are things going to change with my business? How are going to things change with my taxes? What should I look out for? You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But until that happens, I always, someone told me something, what is it? I'm not going to bet on tomorrow because I haven't finished today, you know?
I love that.
Take a step back. I
Yeah.
encourage people to take a step back and just focus on you and your world today. You know, like I say, live in the moment. Remember living in the moment? We all
Yeah.
need to live in the
Which
moment.
I mean, it's so healthy to do that too, because we really don't know what the future is, and future brings on anxiety. So
It
it's not
does for a
something
lot
that
of people.
you just don't know what's going to happen, in different combinations that can happen in your life that may be different than what's happening right now. So I have your uh, website is speakingtoelevate.com.
Mhm.
Where could people go to connect with you? If they are wanting to have this fabulous service you're talking about. It's like,
Oh, thank you.
how do they connect with
So
you, my friend?
that's my umbrella, speakingtoelevate.com. And in there is links to that will direct you to my website for accounting services. We also support the youth with financial education. So financial literacy first is in there. And then, of course, if you wanted to connect with me as a speaker, one of the things that I am very, let's say, hardcore about is I don't want to charge you anything until we've had a conversation to determine, can I even help you? Okay. And to determine if you're a good fit. I find fit is super important. That
Yeah.
means for my business model, does that fit what the needs you have and what you need taken care of? Is that going to be a good fit? Because that's something that I build relationships long term, Rhonda. Simple as that. I'm not a kind of person, and I don't run a business that is like in and out, in and out. No,
Yeah.
not at all. I want a long term relationship. So if you go to Speaking to Elevate and you hit the link that says business and financial management services or accounting or however it's set up, you'll be able to connect with me and I'll give you a free consultation. We can talk and find out how I can help and if I'm a good match for you.
Awesome. Carla, thanks for your stories and allowing us the insight on how logical numbers can feel once you get to the education part of it, understanding. Not that it has to be too technical, because you got that taken care of, as you said.
Right.
And how that elevates really the world, and women coming together as business owners with you and knowing that they got this, and that'll help them run their business. We love having women business owners out there. It's with the stuff that the creativity and the layers, the insightfulness that we bring, to our families, and then we're doing it out there in the business. So I really appreciate your work. Thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. I appreciate the invite and appreciate the audience out there taking time to watch the show today.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Carla. And Fresh Talks Global Vision, every time we get together with people, it's incredible the different things that we're learning. It's like, this is really like a mastermind when you start thinking about leveraging up in your life. And so this is hashtag Speaker Locking Arms. We really believe we're doing a humanitarian project here where we're really going to do something in person within a couple of years from now. And what I believe is that we're putting together, looking at what's happening out there and how is humanity being affected with the ebbs and flows of whatever the fears are that you're carrying. But what do we really need out there? And for me, it'd be stop the blaming and shaming, open up the vocals to really be able to express who you are and what you're thinking. And so with Carla Vaughn being here, we got to talk about numbers. It's incredible. So we'll see you soon. And Carla, again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
My friend. Excellent.